Let's not mess it up.
Okay, guys, welcome to the channel, Being All Outdoors. We're at Armchair Gun Range, and we're here with Right to Bear. And I guess our other people be coming. If not, we're going to still get this information in and move forward with
Right to Bear and Double Tap.
Double Tap. Right to Bear and Double Tap. I do have your questions. I'm going to ask these questions because I know a lot of you hit me up on my email on YouTube asking me about, hey, when was I going to get into the subject? I was avoiding this subject primarily because I knew what was happening with the election. And we knew that there was a big boom because of the election with people buying firearms. And there were some women and that were not comfortable, but they felt they should have had firearms. And so we're going to address all these things, your questions about reciprocity, and the elect president is talking about possibly signing national reciprocity. Then there's confusion that they say, oh, they may take the guns away, and it's a lot, So we're going to try and hopefully these guys can answer these questions for us, and we're going to talk about it. And so we're going to just kick it off with the first question right now. Is some of the red flag laws when it comes down to reciprocity going from state to state and what they should look for and the loopholes. And we were talking before the video, and he actually had some good information. So introduce yourself and dive right in, because he raps too. Everybody go listen.
Hey, I'm sorry I don't use the kings and queens of Dracula in those times.
Hey, that's a good way to just throw me in. So my name is Harrison Benton, and I'm the owner of Double Tap Coalition. And the question of reciprocity as it relates to Georgia residents, certain states have gun restrictions, and also there are certain states that don't recognize our Georgia concealed carry permit. The issue or the misconception here is that concealed carry is different from open carry, which also differs from constitutional carry. Constitutional carry here in Georgia gives you the actual legal right to carry both concealed and open carry. I'm not a fan of open carry, but if that's what you choose to do, then that's your prerogative. But there are certain states, I know Texas, Alabama, Florida, now South Carolina, this whole map behind me, all these red states, they recognize Georgia permit. The thing about most of those red states is that now most of them are actually constitutional carry. So whether they recognize your permit or not, you still must go do your own homework. That's your due diligence as a gun owner, because nobody's going to just walk up to you, ask you if you have a gun and are you aware of the laws? No, ignorance of the law is not an excuse.
Let me stop you right there. So that is one of the questions, and you walk right into it, which was, that's kind of the red flag caught up thing. So if I go from Georgia to Tennessee, and Tennessee says, well, yeah, you can carry here, but when you come in here, you got to have your magazine separated from your weapon, and your weapon has to be, I'm just using this as an example, displayed this way. What's happening is a lot of people are reading these things as they travel, and they're getting confused, and they're not totally understanding, well, the law, from what I see, maybe is not absolute, gentlemen. Is that it's that gray area that gets everybody caught up. So you have back from there.
So with the red flags, some states do have traveling exceptions. So if you're traveling through the state, you actually do get an exception to some of those gun laws. And when I say traveling through, I'm talking about going through. You might just spend a night at the rest stop or something, and you're going through. But there's another clause there that if you're going to stay for more than one day, then you must adhere to those local laws. So you have to go look up those local laws on your own. You can actually call the local police department for clarity in conjunction with what you just said. You pick up the phone to call the doctor's office and make your doctor appointment. Pick up the phone and call the local law enforcement to ask about your gun rights. Because if you get caught, the first thing you're going to say is, well, the black and white said XYZ, but you never called and got clarity. You jumped on YouTube and watched somebody like us giving you false information, which we're going to give you the most accurate as we can. But you can't just rely on information somebody gave you that is no professional or doesn't know the actual language that black and white law speaks. So my advice is do your homework. Anytime I travel, I go do my homework. I don't rely on nobody but myself because I go look up everything else. Anytime I get sick, I go look up my symptoms. Even though Google tell me I'm gonna die in 5 days, I still go talk to the doctor too. So I get multiple opinions. And that's just me. What you got?
So if all those members, people out there, right to bear members, if you look on the back of your card, we have an information number. If you're a right to bear member, no matter if you're a monthly member or an annual member, you can call that number. And whatever state you're going to, you can talk to a lawyer in that state. That's all part of your membership, right? They'll put you on the phone. You can talk to that lawyer, and the lawyer can PDF you information that you can print out and keep in your car. I travel to New Orleans because my parents are 89 and 86, right? So I travel across Mississippi, Alabama, into Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama, into Louisiana. So I can have that information and just have it in my car all the time. But if I travel all the time, I basically got to memorize how to carry, where to carry, when to carry. But Harrison is right. You have to know that our laws here in Georgia are not applicable in the other states. We have reciprocity, meaning we can carry a firearm if we have a license, right? In those states, we have reciprocity with our license. That's what he's saying. But if you want to talk to a lawyer in Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, you call that number. That's all part of your membership. They call you back. And you don't sit on the phone, talk to them, get the information you need.
Mm-hmm.
Or you look it up yourself, wherever you want. But you can look it up yourself and call your attorney, right? Okay.
Okay, were you finished with that part, or I can jump to the next question?
Oh, no, you can go to the next question.
Okay, the next question is the difference between open carry and concealed carry. Now, and one of the main questions was, and you just kind of answered that pretty much, but the main question with them is how, if I'm open carry and I'm in my vehicle or I'm on my motorcycle or I'm riding my bike, how should I display my weapon? Do I have to say something to the police? Is, that kind of situation. I think, and they're also talking about here in Georgia that possibly, hey, you may have to have a gun safe and you may have to have if you own weapons now, they're talking about you possibly have to have gun safes in your home now. So I don't know if you knew about that, but there you go.
So my question for you said, how do I conceal my weapon in the vehicle?
Well, if you have it and you're carrying it, and let's say you're not concealed carry, but you open carry.
No. I'm going back. See, I got a big thing about vernacular words that we use.
Mm-hmm.
You said weapon.
Yeah.
If I use this TV as a weapon,
I got you. Firearm. There you go. Firearm. Yeah. So yeah.
No, it's important.
So
Words are important.
The reason that I'm a stickler on that is because we say things like assault rifle because the media programmed us for gun control. That's the main objective. So we got to be careful in the gun community of how we talk about certain things because we're helping push certain agendas. So when we talk about firearms in particular, the difference in open carry and concealed carry is simple. Like when we talk about concealment, we're hiding from plain view. So even if my firearm on my hip currently is outside of my waistband, if my shirt is over it, that firearm is now concealed. So concealment is hiding from plain view. Let's just keep that in mind. Open carry is visible. Someone can visibly see that firearm. So if it's on the front seat in the vehicle, that's open. That's out in the open. Like, let's not forget our simple education from grade school. Like, nothing changed there. Open is in plain view. Conceal means you can't see it. So with constitutional carry, you got the option to do both. When we talk about vehicle, if your firearm is on the front seat and you're doing 100 miles an hour and you come to a complete stop, not only are the organs in your body doing 100 miles an hour, but so is that firearm on the front seat. Now, we got a collision or what have you, and that firearm and your organs inside your body are both doing 100 miles an hour. So now we have no idea where they are going to go. So me personally, I highly recommend that your firearm be on your person. Or if you're not going to have it on you because you might have some kind of situation like me, I'm bigger. So sometimes where I carry my firearm, it varies. So in that case, my firearm will be secured in my vehicle. And they make all kind of cool safes that you can put in your car where you can still easily and quickly access that firearm. look it up, take advantage of them. They got them out there. Georgia, Atlanta in particular, we lead the nation in two things: guns stolen out of vehicles and guns confiscated at the airport. Don't ask me why. Don't ask me how. Just look at your neighbor. Every time they get their car broken into and they got a gun, they come up missing. The gun is missing because the car is not a gun safe. It's just not. Like, I don't know why we don't understand that a car is not a safe. You in the house, but your gun in the car. But you want to know about castle doctrine and how I defend my house. Well, your gun was in the car, so we ain't even defending the house. We letting them know that the gun in the car with the garage opener. So if you grab the gun and hit the garage opener button, you can come and take whatever you want. Because trust me, when they do that, you're going to comply. All these YouTube videos and all this homework, you're going to comply, I promise you. That's the procedure when the gun is in your face, compliance. Don't ask me, just go and look at YouTube and look up how many people getting robbed and shot at with their own guns. But getting back on topic, keep the gun on you. That is my personal opinion. Keep it on you. The safest place for that gun is on you, easily accessible, because we don't want it floating around the car. We don't want it stolen, because when you get out the car, you're going to forget it, because you got to get the 2 kids, you got to get your purse, or you got to get your laptop. Or your phone, because most of y'all will get the phone before your gun.
Yep, that's a fact.
I'll get my gun before my wallet and the phone. Dog, I'm not leaving my gun, man. No gun left behind.
All right, next question. Hopefully this answers some of y'all's question. Next question y'all have for the difference between breaking in a home and entering a home and defending it. So from my understanding, at least from law enforcement, if you leave your door unlocked and somebody enters the home, that's different than breaking into a home, actually taking some crowbars or kicking in or breaching, and it's been court cases lost where somebody has fired on an individual for entering the home. And they say, hey man, I was just disoriented. I was lost. I walked in, I said hello. And then they shot me.
That's true.
And this, so.
OCGA 16-3-23.
What would you say, 16?
OCGA 16-3-23. There are a lot of Christians who quote Bible verses. That's my Bible verse. Bible laws. That's my scripture. So that literally talks about this very topic. It is defense of your home, your vehicle, and your place of work. What you just said is completely true. If your door is unlocked and somebody walks through the door, it was not done, and I quote, in a violent and tumultuous manner. The actual law states if someone attempts to enter your residence in a violent and tumultuous manner, you have the option to use force or deadly force. I'm not telling you which one to use. I'm just telling you that you have the option, but it must be violent and tumultuous. So if your door to your house is unlocked because you live in the country and everybody your friend, and Bubba Joe decide he gonna come in and do what he want, and he walked through that door freely, openly, you can't defend anything because the door was never locked. He walked through non-violent. If your car door is unlocked at the red light and Joe Blow come up and pull you out the car, your door was unlocked. The barrier, such as a door or a window, is in place for your security, not protection, but security. So if someone violently tries to open the door or tumultuously tries to gain entry, at that point, you can defend yourself. Notice I said attempt. I never said nothing about them actually successfully getting in, because the law states if the entry is made or attempted in a violent and tumultuous manner, and it's written just like that, go look it up, you can defend yourself. You can use force. If you live in an apartment, I would be skeptical about using deadly force as you have neighbors. And if you mistakenly shoot through another building, you will be held liable. You are liable for every round or everything you do in defense. Self-defense, defense of a neighbor, it doesn't matter. You're going to be held liable for it. So you got to make sure you do this in accordance with where you live, the environment, the safety rules. Know what's beyond your target. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
I have a caveat. Okay. There's a caveat that lawyers will involve themselves in. If someone comes in your house at 3 a.m, they didn't violent or tumultuous, and they have a mask on, can you defend yourself? Yes, you can, because they came in your house. And because see, violent tumultuous is obvious, right? But there's also somebody comes in your house, breaks in your house. It's not violent or tumultuous, but they come in for nefarious purposes. You can still defend yourself. That's why there's also law in OCGA, right? 16. You got to look up all of it, right? OCGA 16, you can just go through the table of contents and you look up stuff. Because you had the violent tumultuous law, but then somebody enters your house to rape you. But you don't know they're coming to your house to rape you, but they're not supposed to be in your house at 3 a.m, and you didn't hear them come in.
I didn't cover forcible felonies.
Okay.
That wasn't the question.
That wasn't the question,
Yeah,
right?
we're getting into that.
Yeah, but right. So I want people to think that you cannot defend yourself, right? You can. There's other laws in OCGA 16. There's other things. Harrison's talked about one part of it. So there is a caveat to it. You got to understand the whole thing that's the only point I'm getting at.
To answer, right? Is that the laws across the board? I mean, we know, 16. But they don't.
Yes. Yeah. OCGA 16, Official Code of Georgia Annotated 16. Look at the table of contents and read about all. It talks about felonies, forcible felonies. It talks about how to use your gun, how to carry your gun. It talks about all that stuff, right? So and Harrison is right. That's the question that asks. So you ask that question, you go like, that means somebody breaks in my house and they didn't come in, but I can't defend myself. It's not the case. That's why you got to look at OCGA 16. That's why I'm emphasizing that. And that's a whole lot of stuff to read. And that's why we have lawyers, because you can have a cursory understanding of it, but when you get into something, you're going to need an attorney.
All right, the next one segueing into that is, and I had to correct, some of you guys on YouTube about that. If somebody is taking your vehicle in your driveway and you fire on them, they were no threat to you. They were no threat to you, and you can possibly do time or fine or get sued for that because they didn't fire at you, they didn't hurt you. They're taking your vehicle. So step on that one.
There's no can and will. You will be charged. I'm telling you now. You going to jail. Do not pass
Absolutely.
go. Do not collect $200. Go straight to jail. No. So no. Texas and Georgia are the same, and that's a big misconception that in Texas you can defend property. In Georgia, you can defend property. You cannot use deadly force.
Yes, true. Force. That's correct.
You can't use deadly force. Force is authorized.
Yes, that's what I meant.
And a lot of people who've never taken the actual the permit test for Texas, man, look, go. It's $65. It's online. Go take it for Texas. That way you can get that conception out your head, because Texas and Georgia are the same. You can defend property, just not with deadly force. So if somebody's taking your car or something that belongs to you and you go and chase them, you have just turned into the aggravator. So you're going to jail. You're going to jail. You can be in Waffle House, because that happened. And there was two young guys breaking in this man's car, and he went out there and shot them both. And he got hit with 2 counts of aggravated assault because he shot them both. Now, let me flip this too. If you go and you point a gun at somebody, that's no longer brandishing or pointing. In Georgia, that's aggravated assault. Merely pointing the firearm at somebody, not in self-defense because you're an aggravator, that's aggravated assault. 1 count per person involved. So if it was 10 people and you pulled a gun on a group of 10 people, if it's not under disparity of force, that's 10 counts of aggravated assault. You're going to jail, man.
Give them another scenario. If it was 10 people and one brandished a weapon or armed, how would that work?
So I'll give you a better one. If there's 10 people and nobody brandished a firearm, but all of them had equal intent to do bodily harm to you, then you have what's called disparity of force. It's 1 of you and it's 10 of them. So the force of the attacker is greater than you, and they can cause death or great bodily harm to you or somebody that you're with. So at that point, because you've deemed them a threat to you, you can use deadly force or force. That works for a woman who is 110 pounds and her attacker is 6'4", 350 pounds. She can use disparity of force. She can use force that can go up to deadly force to defend herself. That's based on disparity of force. So
Trespass to land and stand your ground.
two totally different things.
Yeah, I just threw both questions out at you.
So trespassing is a misdemeanor. Criminal trespass is a misdemeanor, right? So if somebody is trespassing on your property, you can use verbal judo, like tell them to get off your property. There's no need to escalate a situation that didn't call for it. Pulling out a firearm, you could, it's questionable because if they call 911 first, you probably can go to jail for that. Like you can get cited for that. So just because it's your property, don't feel like you can just go willy-nilly and just pull out a gun on everybody because you can't do that. It's just not how that goes. What's the second part? It was criminal trespass and what?
Stand your ground.
So in Georgia, you do kind of have stand your ground. We don't have a duty to retreat. So you can stand your ground. Now, when we say there's no duty to retreat, what is the situation? Because everything is situational based. So I can tell you that you can stand your ground, but it's literally based on the scenario. What are you standing your ground against? What is the threat on the other side? Was it just a mutual combat agreement? Or was this person trying to commit a forcible felony? Big difference. Because as we said earlier, a forcible felony can be defended with force, just straight up. Armed robbery, rape, kidnapping, all those can be neutralized by force or deadly force. And if you need further assistance, just go Google what a forcible felony is. Yeah.
It all comes into play.
That's what I said. It's all situational, you know. Just
it all comes into play.
like-
People think, well,
that's it.
he was bigger than me, and I pull out a gun. Well,
Go
You
ahead.
did.
And repeat the thing about duty to retreat again. In Georgia?
And yeah, you don't have a duty to retreat in Georgia. Yeah, and in some states you do have the duty to retreat, so you have to leave if there's a way out. You must take the way out.
Okay.
In Georgia, you ain't got to do that. But like they just said, if you told them to come see you outside, you started it. You walked outside, you told them to come see you outside, and now you're gonna finish it and you're going to jail. Period. That's for all y'all people who like to record and go on Facebook Live and I told them to come see me. I told them to pull up and somebody's dead. You going to jail. You told them to come see you outside. So if you live and they die, you going to jail or you die. And then they got self-defense. There was a situation where a girl, her and her boyfriend got into a fight and she called her father to come outside. Her father came outside and he got an Uber to meet baby Jesus. And this was on live. And the boyfriend got away because that was self-defense. She called a third party involvement and he neutralized the threat. Period. Yeah, he got Uber, baby. Uber. Listen, got 16 Ubers. You pick one.
The last one, which was brought on by the election, and people are really worried about, is police qualified immunity and what that's going to look like for concealed carry people. And, you know, of course, we deal in the world of racism and things like that, and people colorism. So people are worried about that. And what does it look like? You know, how will people be able to defend themselves in, you know, certain situations like that? Or, you know, that's, you know, and I think that's why a lot of people were asking a lot of the questions like, what is this qualified immunity? What are these officers going to be able to do to us? Can they just take our weapons? Can they just beat us down? Oh, I see a gun and bang, bang, bang. You know, there you go.
Now, everything I'm about to say is subjective. It is my Harrison Benton personal opinion. You can leave it on the shelf or you can purchase it at the next cashier's register. I don't care. When you talk about police immunity being legal through the Trump administration, all you're telling me is something that's been going on is now about to be legal.
Yes.
So the police departments don't have to work as hard to hide it. You're not telling me that something new is going to happen. You're not instilling fear or you're not fear mongering me to something that I've already seen. You're just saying that the stuff that they had to work to cover up, they don't have to work as hard to cover it up. They can already come take your guns now. If your neighbor calls and say that you're a mental nutcase, they come take your guns. If your wife says that you're domestic, they come take your guns. You're not going to tell me right now that everything you just said is something new, because that's been going on. So we're using fear mongering because we obviously didn't want a certain person in office for whatever reason that may be. I don't do politics, but I'm going to continue to live my life the way I've been living it. Even after January 20th, I'm going to continue to live my life the way I've been living it. I got guns. I'm going to buy more guns. I got ammo. I'm going to buy more ammo. Everybody growing their own food. Everybody's doing what they've been doing. The president changes every 4 to 8 years. No one cares. I'm just not buying into what they're selling, because I feel like everything you see on TV, there's an alternative to it. It's just mass programming. They can get all this mass programming out to you, and they can push all this information out there to make you think a certain way, to make you look at certain people a certain way. The same way they look at black people with guns like a threat. I ain't a threat. I'm no more of a threat than your neighbor who got 6 Klansmen outside practicing target shooting with a black target. We all the same. The only difference is, like I said earlier, I will shoot first. That is the biggest difference between me and them. I won't wait to get shot at. I won't wait for you to come and do something for me. I've never been that person. I'm not going to wait for the opposition to get a jump on me because I may be incapacitated. My family may be incapacitated. So if you're not training to be vigilant and protect yourself, then I feel sorry for you, because you must maintain a certain level of dangerous. As a man, you have to maintain that. A lot of y'all are losing y'all masculinity, painting your freaking fingernails and doing all this sassy stuff. Man, listen, we grew up as men.
Message.
Like, seriously, you can't even get some 16-year-olds to go cut grass. So how do you expect them to be dangerous and protect themselves? Y'all putting these kids in soccer and no defense classes, fighting something as simple as boxing or karate. You missing it. So don't come and talk to me about police immunity and racism if you're not raising these men to still be men. You're losing it. They're taking that masculinity from you. Be dangerous. At least have 10% of dangerousness in you, because some of y'all don't even have the will to take another human life. It's simple. For me anyway, my personal opinion.
Gentlemen, is there any time, this last question, is there any time it's okay, this is to defend yourself against the police? Mm-hmm.
That's really subjective too. In the beginning of this, I used to be a cop too. So in the beginning of this, what's going to end up happening is you're probably going to lose that fight, because you're going to be outgunned and outmanned. You probably should just go along, don't get hurt, and then own the police department when you're done. It's simple. But you're going to try to defend yourself against, you got a 9mm and they are 15 and they got 12 M4s aimed at your head. That make any sense?
Yeah,
so we got to stop fighting like that. We have to be smart when we're doing what we're doing.
What's the Fifth Amendment right?
You tell me. Tell them.
To remain silent. Right?
Yeah.
You can defend yourself against the cops. Just shut your mouth.
Just go with it.
Everybody feel like they know the law. They feel like they're above the law. They want to argue. Just shut up. Shut up.
There you go.
If you shut up, you come out a whole lot better than trying to defend yourself.
You are not going to win that argument.
Man,
I'm telling you right now, as a former police officer.
You said argument. You're not going to win the fight.
Yeah, that's right. Well, yeah. Well, at the moment, it's an argument, and then you're thinking, well, I'm going to defend myself against the police, the po-po. You're not going to win that argument at that moment. You're just not.
Yeah, that's my piece of advice.
I don't care how big and bad and black you think you are, you're not going to win that argument.
Nah.
You will win the argument in the courtroom with the testimony, with the technology from the body cams, from the dash cams. If they're doing something wrong, if you maintain your cool, you're going to win that argument. If you don't, because you black, you're going to lose that argument that day. A whole bunch of people going to cry and scream and want to protest, but you're still going to be gone. And that's what you don't want to do.
And to interject, guys, they do have body cams that you can buy now for yourself and you can keep on your person. and they have them for vehicles now. So if the police got a camera, you can have a camera on your body too. You can order those, put them on your body, and record just like they record.
They're inexpensive.
Yeah.
Amazon.
Amazon.
That's
yeah.
what I mean. Amazon. I'm sorry.
Amazon.
Yeah.
You know, Amazon. They're really, really expensive.
I got you back.
They're inexpensive.
I forgot. Cause you know the way my mind set up.
Any other questions before we pass it on?
In other words, you have to. Here's the deal. Bottom line is, and Harrison's been talking about, you have to fight smart. You just have to be smart.
Oh.
That's all. Don't try to take on 2 police officers with guns and you by yourself. And even if they're wrong, don't take it on. Just take it on after.
So in a situation where you pull over and you can tell that this particular officer is on one, if you will, is it safer to just not say anything, or am I only responding to whatever he's saying? Does that make sense?
Option number 1, you can actually dial 911 on that police officer.
Okay.
The call is completely recorded. Marshall finna tell you about that too.
Okay.
It's already recorded. So you can call 911 and request for a higher officer or supervisor. You can request that 911 stay on the phone, and then you could just not say nothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
You could just, now, there are things that come behind you not saying nothing. Don't think I'm saying don't say nothing and nothing's gonna happen. No, something's gonna happen. You just gotta be willing to deal with whatever comes behind your actions. Me, if I'm being quiet, I'm gonna identify myself, of course. You can get my driver's license, whatever. But any other questions beyond that, I'm sure.
That's what I mean. Of course, that's what I mean. If they ask for my license, okay, I'm gonna hand my license over.
Yeah.
But there's no conversation there.
See, always identify yourself.
Okay.
That way it's like you're not hiding nothing. But if you feel like they're on one because they asked a certain question or they acted a certain way,
Right.
at that point, yeah,
It's nothing wrong with being kind.
start doing sign
Even they're
language.
being a butthead. There's nothing wrong with being kind. Because remember, they have body cam. When that comes up in the court, if you're smart, it comes up in court, you will always, yes, officer. No, sir. No, sir. I'm standing on my Fifth Amendment. I'm not asking any questions. You don't know you know what, man? I pay your salary. I ain't got to answer. I ain't got to say nothing to you. Don't do all that. I'm going to tell you what, having to respond, I pulled my firearm one time. Having to respond, police officers go through the same physiological change that everybody goes through. When you run up on something, you know what you're running onto. You don't know what you're getting into. And you come there and all of a sudden you're there and somebody's in your face getting ugly with you, right? Now, unless you're a very, very calm person, you can take that and take it as it goes. But they're coming, they don't know what's happening, and they get there and you're belligerent. Don't be that.
I got one.
Don't be that.
I got one. So to answer your question, right? What if you drive a black Honda Civic and the first time the officer ever got shot at, that suspect drove a black Honda Civic?
There you go.
You didn't know that, but the way he responded to you was a trigger because he's dealing with untreated trauma. So he dealt with you very aggressively because you fit the same description as the person that actually shot at him that either got away or he incapacitated. They didn't die.
Mm-hmm.
What if that you match that same description?
Gotcha.
And it's the same area. Right, but that's what I'm saying. Yeah, they are responding out of trauma, so it's not that it's something you did. It's a trigger in their mindset, and you have no idea to it. So cooperating, being polite, or being silent is the easiest way, because in that situation, you doing something overly aggressive could end to a worse situation. And believe it or not, the officers has a higher chance of getting away with it than you do.
Just a perfect example of the black young lady that got pulled over by a white officer. And again, you know, I know I have all types of viewers on the channel, but we know as a people what we go through. So I'm just expressing this. But at the end of the day, she was pulled over because the officer felt she was, you know, driving a little too slow. And he called her all types of bitches and this and that and give me your ID, you know, yelling at her and how she's $1 million richer is because she was very, officer, I'm sorry. What did I do? Okay, I'm giving you my ID. Is there anything else you need? And he was just constantly belligerent. Wow. And now, like he said, she's owning the police department. So just kind of keep that in mind. And I would encourage you to get body cameras and even the chain ID, so you don't have to be digging and going in and it. Get those that you can put around your neck. When you going somewhere, your concealed carry cards, your like I still got my Illinois gun cards and all that. Your IDs, keep it here so you don't have to be reaching and digging. And now they standing up there. Hey, where you going? I thought I saw a gun. Oh, that was my cell phone. And yeah, you can sue. You might live, you might not, but you don't want to get injured at all. So it's just better to say, here it is. Here you go.
My permit. My permit is not nowhere near my driver's license. Yeah. Because if they didn't ask me if I got a gun, I'm not giving any inclination that I got a gun. You only wanted my driver's license, so me knowing I'm getting pulled over, I'm already going to get my ID. That way, I'm in motion still. So when you walk up to the window, here's my ID already. Yeah. But
ID, insurance,
me showing you my permit is only letting you know that I got a gun or there may be a gun somewhere. I'm waiting until we get to that point to even let you know. So they want my driver's license. That's all they get.
Here's the deal. You have to really be smart and not have the mindset of a victim. If you got pulled over, you don't know what you didn't do anything wrong. Is there any reason for you not to be kind and cooperative? No, it's not. That's the point. So it's officer, no, I wasn't aware. I'm sorry. Always be kind. And you give what they ask for, yes. And as Patterson says, here's my driver's license. Right? That's what I'm getting. I have it ready. My driver's license. And is there anything else I can get for you? And you sit there calm. They can scream all they want. And this happened to me when I was driving home across Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, going to see my parents. I go every Christmas because, like I said, they're 89, 86 years old. I was driving. I'm listening to books. And that time I was listening to music, and it was holiday music. I was driving through Alabama, and I was driving fast. I didn't realize it. And the police officer pulled me over. He didn't come up on the left side. He came up on the right side of the car, knocked on the window, I rolled the window down, and I did have my firearm when I have a center console right here. And he started yelling at me. This was 2 years ago. He started yelling at me, just yelling. And I kept my hand at 10 and 2, and I looked straight ahead, and I let him finish yelling. And he asked me, yes, sir, I'll get that for you. I gave it to him. But I carried my military. I became a military retiree. I gave him my driver's license. I did not give him my license for carrying my firearm. He couldn't see it. Counsel was blocking it. I gave him a military ID. I gave them together. And I put my hand back on the wheel. He came back up. His whole attitude changed. His grandfather was in the Air Force. He's retiree and all this other stuff. So we had something in common. But here's the point I'm making. I could have exacerbated that whole situation. Like, man, why are you talking to me like that, man? You think I'm so pumped? Could get all that because he was wrong. Only thing I found out was he was just scared because police officers are scared. You don't understand this. We get frightened. We get afraid. We have to make a stop, right? On an interstate, on a highway, on the street. We don't know if that's going to be the last stop we make. Do you just realize that 2 police officers were shot here in DeKalb County? Was this on that? They were just making a routine domestic thing and got shot, both of them. 2 months before that, 2 police officers were shot, both were killed. Sheriffs, right? One had a 32, had 2 small children, a wife. One was 43, had one in high school, one in college, and had been married for like 20 years. They're not going home to their families. Understand that police officers are just humans, and they're nervous. They don't know if this is going to be their last one. So they come and they try to take control of a situation. You don't have to exacerbate the situation by being ugly. And some of them are just buttheads. Right? That's the way it is. So, but this is what I got to understand about police officers. I'm not supporting, I just be a cop, right? Just what you got to understand. The problem with police officers is they're all humans. I mean, you understand what I mean? Any of y'all ever been to a doctor that was just a bad doctor?
Yeah.
Yes. Any of y'all been to church with a bad preacher? Do you know?
You said no.
Do you know the similarities in both of those particular instances? Human beings. You got good human beings and bad human beings in every endeavor, period. You got them in the police world, you got them in the medical world, you got them in the spiritual world. They're just there. What you have to do is know how to react to things yourself. You can be polite, you can be kind, be cooperative. Well, I'm going to search your car. Well, sir, you can't search my car without a warrant. Well, we can sit here. Well, sir, we'll sit here until you get a supervisor, you get a warrant. And you be very kind when you're saying it. You don't have to, you ain't searching nothing. Don't do all that. Because now you're giving them probable cause.
And they will try and provoke you.
Yes, some of them will.
Yeah.
If I was a cop, I wouldn't try to provoke you. But you have some of them that do. This is my point. But if you, if you just handle yourself, did you do anything wrong? Well, no. Why are you getting upset? If he's yelling at you, why are you getting upset? He's the one, especially if you're recording it and it's on his body cam. All right? That's what I'm saying. If you know how to handle these things, you handle them. And I just kept my 10 and 2. He came back, started talking to me like he was my long lost brother. I said, it flipped just like that. And I went, oh, really? Where was he stationed? Oh, yeah, I was there. And we just talked for another 5 minutes. He said, well, be careful. I'm sorry, officer. I was really just not paying attention. I'm listening to music. I'm just not paying. Thank you. Appreciate you. I took my license, took my thing, and I drove off. That could have went a whole different way because I was going too fast. I just wasn't paying attention. Could have went a whole different way. That's what I'm talking about. It happened to me. Didn't tell him I was a cop. None of that. I was just very cooperative because he was afraid. He was that tall, about 150 pounds, soaking wet. And he's driving a Alabama State Trooper car. There you go.
All right. Thank you for that. You were the bomb. He didn't rap for us, but he's singing about. But anyway, tell them a little bit about Double Tap, and then we move on. And how is join? How do they book you? How do they bring you out?
So Double Tap Coalition, we are a firearms training company primarily. We do also do firearm sales, and we are in the process of starting a gun club. I say in the process, work with me a little bit. For the most part, you can just find me on doubletapcoalition.com. That's our main website. And everything is at Double Tap Coalition. It's simple. Facebook at Double Tap Coalition, Instagram at Double Tap Coalition, TikTok. Even on YouTube, Double Tap Coalition. You just look me up. You can Google it, and all of our information will pop up. So whatever y'all need, just let me know. And that's it.
You're next.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Y'all. Thank you.
I want to get your information too.
No, I ain't going nowhere.
All right. Let me see. I'm in the camera. All right. There's that much time I had on it. Go ahead.
All right. You want me to do a presentation or you want more questions?
Any questions, or you want him to go into the other things we want?
All these people have, some they saw it, but
Yeah.
I changed it up a little bit and we'll see what they remember from last time.
Okay.
So you have people on YouTube also?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. My name is Marshall and I'm with Right to Bear.
Sorry.
Okay,
And
go ahead.
let them know too, because if there's a way for them to sign up.
They need to go. Well, yeah, I'm going to go over that process, but they need to come to me if they want what I'm going to give them. Because what I'm going to talk about when it comes to Right to Bear, these people have it, but the people online will not get that unless they give me a call.
Oh yeah, we'll pause. We're going to take a part 2. Pinky got a PP. All right.